everybody, welcome back to the Muse News. My name is Brittany Verlenich. I'm a content strategist, social media manager, total marketing nerd. I'm also the host of the Social Media Magic Podcast, the Blog Magic Podcast, a teacher creator podcast, and my secret Substack newsletter called Becoming Prolific, where you can follow my journey to build up and hopefully sell a TPT store within a year. Y'all, I'm so behind on that, by the way. Oh my goodness, as far as actually building it up to sell. I even said this in another video, but I definitely think it's closer to a 2-year thing, like a year to actually build it up and then have enough data and then come back, which I have something about that. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, lots going on here, but there's also a lot going on just in the world of digital marketing. And I want to speak to that for a second. Things literally change every single day right now with the rise of AI, with all of the new tools and apps and ways to automate coming out. Like there's always going to be something new. And I want to address that because there's this idea or belief that once you get to a certain place, once you're making a certain amount of money, once you have so many followers, once you have so many email list subscribers, or maybe even for my TPT seller, Etsy shop people, once I have so many products in my shop, right? Once I have so many products listed, once I have so many blog posts published, once I have so many podcast episodes up, once I have so many videos on YouTube, once, when. And it usually doesn't happen like that, right? Like business isn't something where you just keep slogging and eventually you go up. And sometimes it is. For some people, it is a hockey stick and that's amazing. But we can't just assume there's a happily ever after, right? When it comes to business and marketing, part of your job is staying informed. Now, if you happen to just come across this video and you're not already getting my Muse News newsletter, this is going to help with that because honestly, it's like a full-time job staying informed. And I made this newsletter specifically for that purpose, right? Every single week, I'm sharing some trending topics that are happening right now in case you're doing your own social media marketing, specifically for a teacher audience too. I'm talking about what these different apps and platforms are doing. I'm talking about different trends just in greater marketing in the online space that I'm seeing. So it's definitely a great resource and it's totally free for you to sign up. So I'll be sure to put that link in the video description in case you're coming across this maybe on YouTube and you're not on my email list yet. If you are one of my listies, hey, I'm so glad you are here and we have a lot to cover. So I'm going to get right into it. The big idea I want to share, and I also just want to shout out Reed Harrington. If you've been following me on Instagram, which if you're not, come follow me there. I've been sharing about this guy, Reed Harrington, all week, who he has an Instagram account, but he has no idea how many followers he has. Although I'm sure he will, because the whole idea of his account is he creates the videos, he sends them to his editor uploads them to his Instagram account, but he has no idea how many followers he has, how his account is doing. And in less than like 10 days, I mean, he's at like 97,000 followers as of when I'm recording this video. At the trajectory he has, he'll probably be at 100K by tomorrow or the day after, which is absolutely wild, less than 10 days. But he's not the only one. I actually did this micro study of all these different accounts that grew really quickly. Becca is one really good example on TikTok. If you've been following Rich Talk at all, you know, what's funny is like I really avoided TikTok for a long time because you can get stuck and sucked down such a rabbit hole, but I've been studying it more because I'm just really fascinated right now by not just virality, but by the speed at which some people amass a following, because I think there's this idea that success has to be slow, and usually it is, but it doesn't have to be. For some people, they actually do get many followers quickly. They do make a lot of money out the gate, right? Like I talk a little bit about my own TPT seller journey and how on my first month selling on TPT, I made just over $400, which I know that's not life-changing money. I know nobody's getting rich from that, but it blew me out of the water because my products were not that good. But just because I put myself out there enough that I asked people who were following me inside of my Facebook group of a couple thousand teachers, what do you need right now? What do you want? That showed me what was possible. And that launched me on this whole journey of online business, marketing, and all that stuff. And it also taught me how important it is to build a community and really grow an audience so that you don't just depend on what's happening on a marketplace like Teachers Pay Teachers or even on a search algorithm on a platform like YouTube or Google. So all of that to say, I did this little study and I saw a few of these people all did something in common, but it wasn't the same thing because I know we often want a hack, a tip, a strategy. We want some kind of unlockable secret blueprint where if I just tell you what to do step by step, step 1, step 2, I do think there's a version of this, which I have a program coming out about this. So I'm super excited to announce that officially. But in reality, that actual secret doesn't exist, right? Like the actual secret, quote unquote, is kind of a myriad of things, right? The first thing is to be truly creative and original. The reason that this account, Reed Harrington, blew up so quickly to, I'm going to call it 100,000 people in less than 10 days, because I'm sure he's going to get there, is because the idea of the account was original. Now, whether or not there's an actual editor or he is basically the editor and he's just making a persona, I mean, who knows? It's creative, it's funny, it's original, and the editor also has some humor. There's banter in the comments. People are also coming along along for the journey. They're following along with him. They feel like they're in this with him. If you can build that in your content, and that's not Instagram specific, by the way, you can do that on YouTube, with your blog, even with your email list. Can you bring people along with you? On social media and on YouTube even, this works really well as a series. Can you make a series of videos where there's literally like point A to point B to point C, or step 1, step 2, step 3? Can you do that for your audience? Because if you have them coming in for a series, then it's not really about you anymore. It's about they want to follow you, or they want to go to your content. They want to consume your content because they're invested in the story. They're invested in the journey. A friend of mine, his handle is Gin and Tonic Travel, and we met at a hostel in Ireland just over a year ago. He had like 800 followers on Instagram or something like that. I knew he had amazing potential because I saw his filmography skills and his photography skills, and I said, oh, you're gonna blow up. You just gotta really commit to this. Within a year, he got to over 12,000 followers on his Instagram channel, and if you go and look at some of his reels, I mean, they're amazing. We're talking like hundreds of thousands of views, and it's gonna seem like a short amount of time, and in a way it was, but it was a compressed time of focused intensity. So I also just want to share that because I often talk about seasons, and I know that not everybody is in a season where you can really fully focus and you can give a lot of time and energy. And I know there's this movement against grinding and hustle culture, and I get it, but if you are in a season where you can give your business, your content, whatever channel or platform you're focusing on, a season of focused intensity, it's gonna do well for you. And I know this sounds absolutely wild, but even this channel that you're watching right now, as of when I'm putting this up, I have 391 subscribers. And this might sound completely delusional, but I fully believe that by the end of this year, I will have thousands, if not tens of thousands of subscribers on this YouTube channel, and also following across my social media platforms, because I am going all in. And I'm also doing it with the mindset of, if it doesn't happen now, it's gonna happen eventually, right? Like, I might get the timeline wrong, but it's happening. I'm bought in, and I won't fail because I won't quit. And you really do have to have that level of commitment, but if you can also provide that level of focused intensity, it's gonna do really well for you. Also, if you're thinking about what do I actually do, it's about being creative and original. So sometimes, like Reed Harrington, it's about what you're actually doing with the account. What is it that you're documenting or sharing? With my friend Jin, it's about the level of professionalism and quality. Like, these are cinematic reels. His storytelling is on point. He studied this, so it makes sense. And also, he's just a great person. Like, you meet him and he's so friendly, so it totally makes sense to me that these brands are reaching out to him and that he's getting all these opportunities because people pass on to him because they're like, I want to do something for you. And then you're also invested personally in his journey because you're like, oh, I want to see you succeed. And that's the same story with so many other creators who have blown up quickly, quote unquote. You could say either created a persona or developed a character, or at least brought you into their world enough to where you really care not just about what they're saying, but about who they are as people, as personal brands, so that you feel invested in them and their story and what they're teaching you. So I want you to think about that. How can you do that for your own brand? I know that not everybody who has a TPT store, who has a shop on Etsy, who has a blog, is really keen on putting their face out there. And I'm also not going to tell you that you absolutely have to. However, I am going to say, if you want the best results, if you want to get the most out of your long form content, out of social media marketing, at some point you will want to show your face. I'm going to say it. It's a non-negotiable. At some point you're going to do it if you want to get the best results. And I want you to get the best results. So I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering you on. I never want you to be overwhelmed by all of these updates that are happening. And there are quite a few updates this week. So, take your time as you're going through each edition of the Muse News. Subscribe if you haven't already. Link is down in the description. If you already are subscribed, I want you to read through this and just think, what is one thing I can implement this week? And what you can even do is save these newsletters, like make a folder in your Gmail or whatever account you're using and go back to them later. Because even though some of this stuff is timely, like what the platforms are doing, what's trending right now as far as topics, a lot of it as far as strategy and tactics, you can use those whenever you have time, okay? Because I believe, for example, that we have to focus on value and volume when it comes out to content creation. There are creators out there who can just post twice a week, and that's totally possible. But I think if you want to leverage what you have and get better results, you need to, one, get good, and that requires you posting and getting data. But two, even if you do know 100% that your posts are good and you're getting engagement and responses from them, then I say that increasing volume is another way to get better results. So I hope this encourages you today. If you have any questions, as always, you can hit reply from the email. You can drop a comment if you're just watching this on the YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that little bell so you never miss notifications of when a new video is posted. All right, talk soon.